Jerry and Yolanda, that model of plane could be seen here day in and day out at John Glenn International Airport, as well as airports around the country. But today, that model of plane, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9, have been grounded.
This morning when I was looking to get on my flight, the first thing I did was to look at the model number of my flight. It brought a little hesitation.
Travelers around the country and locally here at John Glenn Columbus International Airport reacting to news that President Donald Trump has grounded all Boeing 737 MAX 8 and 9 planes following the recent crash in Ethiopia.
Airlines are agreeing with this. The safety of the American people and all people is our paramount concern.
The FAA says new evidence found similar flight patterns in both the Ethiopian Airlines aircraft and the Lion Air flight. The move to ground both Boeing MAX 8 and 9 follows the actions of more than 40 other countries, including China, Canada, and the United Kingdom.
I like to fly. When it gets a little bumpy, you may get a little nervous, but it's fine.
Kevin Worm is wrapping up a week of work here in Central Ohio. This Nashville-bound traveler says the move is a safe bet, a guaranteed measure of safety following 2 fatal crashes in less than 5 months.
If there's something wrong with the plane, take it off until you get it fixed. Don't make it wait, because you never know what happens.
The FAA says those flights will remain grounded until a further investigation is done in what happened with the Ethiopian flight. If you do plan on hitting the skies anytime soon, it's best to reach out to your individual airline to see how your flight is impacted. We're live at John Glenn Columbus International Airport. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Well, Cruisemas is here. That is what they're calling it. The new Columbus cruise season has begun, and it's the first one under new ownership. 10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us now from Moffrey Stadium with more on all the excitement out there. Cierra.
Yes, good evening, Scott. The game taking place right behind me is really a dream come true for thousands of Crew SC fans, both here and abroad. We're hearing some of them even woke up before the sun came up to celebrate a season that almost did not happen. Now, as you can recall, when the last season ended, many of these fans did not know the fate of their team. That is until a Columbus doctor and his family joined the Haslam family, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, to essentially hashtag save the Crew. And in the hour before the game started, it's that story from complete uncertainty to really elation that these fans were all talking about.
You know, we went into the season just to enjoy the games, you know, what we had left or whatever was going to happen. And this is just great. It's, you know, an exciting time and really happy and looking forward to the atmosphere in the stadium.
And fans are telling me you can already feel a renewed atmosphere within this stadium. They say when you walk in, the metal detectors are new and it kind of speeds up the process in getting into the game. They say it just looks like it has a fresher look. And they also say that Dr. Edwards was out here greeting fans and really embracing his new team. So it's a great feel here out at Moffrey Stadium. We're live in front of the Crew. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Good to see that packed parking lot behind you as well, Cierra. So we'll check in with the Crew tonight at 11 as well.
Following 2 crashes with the MAX 8 in less than 5 months.
10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us from John Glenn Columbus International this hour with reactions. Cierra.
Yes, Jerry, Yolanda, it's that model of plane that can be seen here at John Glenn Columbus International Airport and at airports across the country that's been taken out of service. The United States is following suit of several other countries, including Canada, China, and the United Kingdom, by grounding that jetliner. Now, the FAA did release a statement around 3 p.m. explaining the grounding will remain in effect pending further investigation, including the examination of that Ethiopian's flight's data reader and cockpit voice recorder. For some travelers we spoke with, the move is a welcomed one.
If there's something wrong with the plane, take it off until you get it fixed. Don't make it wait, because you never know what happens.
And some airlines like Southwest have already notified their travelers by putting a blurb on their website. Southwest specifically is advising travelers if you were scheduled for that impacted flight, you are able to schedule a new flight free of charge. We're live at John Glenn Columbus International Airport. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Thanks, Cierra.
We wanted to find out, and 10 TV's Cierra Johnson checked in with the experts to find out. Good morning, Cierra.
Good morning. And the experts say, drum roll please, they aren't a good idea at all. Now, the chickenpox vaccine has been around since 1995, so parents have a safer way to protect their children. 2 doses are given to kids, the first at 12 months, the second at 5 years old. It's been about 90% effective at protecting your kids. Before the vaccine was introduced, chickenpox used to affect 4 million people every year. Among those, 8,000 to 18,000 people were hospitalized, and 100 to 150 died every year. In 2017, the CDC says the number of total cases was down to just 8,700. And in the end, no one wants the chickenpox. The CDC says the complications include bacterial super infections of the skins, blisters, pneumonia, and it can affect the central nervous system. And if you still aren't convinced, getting the chickenpox vaccine can lower your child's risk of getting the shingles later in life, and the shingles can be pretty painful in adults. In the end, chickenpox can be more serious in pregnant women and children under the age of 1. The CDC says the vaccine isn't available for these groups, so if your kids get vaccinated, then you can help someone who's more vulnerable from getting the disease. Back to you.
It is a big weekend in Columbus with the Arnold Sports Festival. It is also Cruisemas, the season opener for Columbus Crew SC. And the Short North is buzzing for Gallery Hop. A lot going on. 10 TV's Sierra Johnson joins us now with more on the excitement in the capital city.
This week in the capital city welcomed several big events, including the Arnold Sports Festival, as well as the opening day for Columbus Crew SC. Both events bringing hundreds of thousands of people to Columbus. It's a weekend full of excitement, and Central Ohio is taking center stage. On the city's north side, thousands gather to celebrate the season opener of the Crew SC.
Looking forward to the atmosphere in the stadium.
Bob Noe and his friends, like many fans, were unsure if this season would even happen. But Saturday, they've gathered with thousands of others to celebrate the beginning of a new era. A team under new ownership with a new coach, and a fan base with a new attitude. Feelings that could be described as
elation. I mean, just relieved and excited about it. It's a great thing to have.
And just down 71 in the heart of downtown, just blocks away from Gallery Hop, yet another downtown draw, are some of the world's best athletes. Their skills are on full display, with these athletes competing in everything from shot put to arm wrestling.
It's kind of a meeting of, just sports in general. So it's cool to get out and see everybody.
A spokesman for the Arnold Sports Festival says this year the 4-day event brought in 22,000 athletes and 200,000 spectators, with everyone spending a combined $51.9 million right here in the capital city. The Arnold Sports Festival wraps up tomorrow, with organizers saying next year will be bigger than ever. In downtown Columbus, Sierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Mayor Andy Ginther tweeted about today's Crew game, saying,
For Rebecca McDonald, it's a simple concept. To do just about anything, a state ID is a must.
Can't do anything pretty much without it anymore.
But coming up with the cash on a tight budget can be tough. And deciding to forego a stolen ID card, ironically, comes with a price.
You need money to pay for anything. If you don't have a job, you can't get your ID. If you don't have an ID, you can't get a job.
And it's that cycle where opportunities are limited because of the inability to afford basic documentation that the Southside ID program is looking to break.
And so they're just in need of some help.
Atticus Garden says that help has presented itself in the form of vouchers for those in need of obtaining an ID, social security card, or birth certificate, documents that can cost as much as $35 a piece. And for a family of 4, it could cost hundreds. Garden says $1,000 for the program came from the Southside Neighborhood Leadership Academy. Another $1,000 donated by complete strangers looking to see others get back on their feet.
For us, it's quite simple, but for individuals who are recently incarcerated, they're coming out of incarceration, they've lost everything, and they can't get a job without having an ID, but they can't get an ID because they don't have the finances to pay for that because they don't have a job.
Didn't take any time at all.
McDonald is one of nearly 60 applicants to take part in the project, and she'll receive her voucher for a new ID in a week.
Some people out there in the world are still very generous and very kind-hearted, and they know that people are struggling and they're willing to help.
On the city's south side, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Organizers say the application period for the South Side ID Project is each Friday from 2 until 4:30 at the United Methodist Free Store.
New tonight, a heartbroken family is speaking out. It has been nearly 2 weeks since a mother of 8 was found dead. She was found in a garage in southeast Columbus. Today, her accused killer faced a judge. 10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us with what those family members and friends are saying tonight.
She was the sweetest person anybody knew. Like she said, she always giving.
Angel Roddy says when she married Tanya Daniels' brother 15 years ago, she quickly gained a sister.
I could call Tanya any time of the day. She was the very first one that welcomed me to the family.
But that bond was shattered on February 24th when this 47-year-old mother of 8 was found dead in a garage behind this vacant home on Seymour Avenue.
Pieces of my heart was broken, just knowing that I won't see her again. It's devastating.
For nearly 2 weeks, the friends and family Tanya left behind worried, wondered what happened in the moments before her life was cut short.
And it was just hurtful because it just feels like it was a senseless murder.
On Thursday, a crucial piece of that mystery turned himself into officers with Columbus Police. Court documents reveal this man, 48-year-old Troy Hairston, surrendered himself to officers and asked to speak with the detective. Documents reveal Harrison confessed to taking Tanya's life.
If that's so, he's off the street and can't hurt anybody else.
Tanya's best friend, Kimberly King, says Harrison's confession will not bring her friend back. A mother, an author, and an advocate who fought to end gun violence.
I don't feel closure right now. Maybe I will when I find out that he really did do it. And the specifics behind it, but right now it still isn't. For some reason, I just feel like that.
In Columbus, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Troy Hairston is being charged with rape, kidnapping, and murder. He is being held on a $1 million bond. Just days after a Licking County couple was killed in a head-on crash, the sister of one victim hopes her brother's death will spark change. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Scott Light. 10 TV Cierra Johnson sat down with that grieving relative who says what's needed in this situation is forgiveness.
I'm not angry at all. I'm more hurt that I didn't get to see my brother one last time.
News that her older brother, John Rodella, was gone hit Kelly Clarkson hard.
He's one of those type of people, when he walks in the room, everyone lights up.
Investigators say Wednesday night, a driver impaired by a legally prescribed drug caused a crash that killed 47-year-old John Rodella Jr. and his girlfriend, 59-year-old Cindy Perry. Investigators say the driver, who 10 TV is not naming because no charges have been filed, crossed into oncoming traffic, hitting the couple head-on. That at-fault driver, a 37-year-old man from Columbus, and his passenger, his 4-year-old son, were not hurt in the crash.
After doing a little bit of the investigation, talking to different police officers, I really believe that my brother went home and maybe his purpose was to save this guy.
Clarkson said her brother was deeply religious and often spoke of the importance of forgiveness. She says despite the pain of losing a loved one, she has decided to look for the good in this life-altering situation.
For my family, we forgive him. It is not going to be easy, and we're not ever going to forget my brother. But we want to forgive this guy, and we want this guy to get help.
In Newark, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
The driver, who investigators say caused that fatal crash, had been previously convicted of 3 separate OVIs.
In just a matter of weeks, this room here in Muskingum County will be busy with folks packaging everything from tinctures to edibles after receiving the state's very first processor's license.
It should look productive. It should look to where we are moving the needle forward on getting these safe, approved products to the marketplace.
Months of growing, pruning, and drying has led Grow Ohio to this moment.
It's one of the excitement. We hired the right people, we have the right formulas, and we're just excited to make a broader market available to the patients that have registered in Ohio.
Located just an hour outside of Columbus, Grow Ohio and its 60,000 square foot facility are officially the first facility in the state to be given the green light to turn these plants and buds into potentially life-altering oils, creams, and edibles. So far, only the plant form of the medicine has been available for sale at state dispensaries. But this facility, which currently employs between 70 and 80 people, is looking to begin manufacturing the cannabis-driven products at the beginning of April.
It'll open up the choices that patients have available to them and how they can purchase their medical marijuana to treat their conditions.
And operators say as that product hits the market, they have the quick capacity to add employees as necessary. In Muskingum County, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News. Yes, Yolanda, Arena District is really the place to be tonight as Columbus hosts the first 2 rounds of the men's NCAA tournament. It looks a little empty around me. That's because they just opened the doors for that next game. Now those 2 rounds offer a nice mix of different seeds as well as different regions. But for thousands of UC fans, Selection Sunday was a dream come true. Their team played right here up 71 North. Now those crowds began gathering early this morning for the first matchup that happened a little after noon. Fans from all parts of the country made the trek to Central Ohio and flooded the restaurants, bars, and hotels both before, after, and during those games. But for those fans rooting for UC Bearcats, the proximity of the first game was more than convenient.
I'm a Cincinnati Bearcat fan. I grew up in Columbus, but to have the Bearcats here in Columbus only allows me to support them much easier.
And not all of the fans were from Central Ohio. Coming up tonight, later, we will introduce you to some more fans from both near and far enjoying everything Central Ohio has to offer. We're live at the Arena District. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
All right, thank you, Cierra.
We've seen jam-packed roads and sidewalks as people from all over the country fill the Arena District. 10 TV's Cierra Johnson is right in the middle of it all. Cierra, what's it looking like to you?
Jerry, it's actually looking pretty busy. They opened the doors a few minutes ago, so you can see folks making their way into that auditorium. But right now, Arena District is the place to be. It's where dreams could come true for some and brackets could be busted for others. Thousands of fans, each rocking their team's colors, have made their way to the capital city.
Looking around the Arena District today, it looks like there's a lot of Bearcats fans.
Fans like Kevin Doherty didn't have far to drive to support his team.
We've been at the bars all morning, seen a lot of people that I know, so it's a great community and happy to have everybody up here.
I'm a Cincinnati Bearcat fan. I grew up in Columbus, but to have the Bearcats here in Columbus only allows me to support them much easier.
Surrounded by a sea of red, both of these fans consider themselves lucky that 8 teams, including the UC Bearcats from right down the road, are playing in the tournament here in the capital city.
To see all of Cincinnati here in Columbus today to support our men's basketball team is such an awesome feeling.
But others traveled hours to see their team hopefully pull out a win, all while taking in all the sights and sounds of Central Ohio.
Yeah, it's a bigger city than we thought. We think of it being a college town, but seems like there's much more to offer.
And so far, these fans visiting from Nashville are impressed at all they've seen.
We've had some good food on High Street, and it's been cool. A little cold, but it's been cool.
And for a majority of those fans we spoke with, they say win or lose, they'll remain here in the capital city for the remainder of the weekend. We're live in the Arena District. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News. Folks at the Columbus Public Health Department say they are limited on the details they're able to release surrounding the death of that young child, citing health privacy laws. But they are telling me if you have not received that potentially life-saving flu shot, it's not too late.
It was a 3-year-old male child. And obviously it's a loss for the family and then for our community as well.
Columbus Health Commissioner Dr. Maishika Roberts says HIPAA prevents them from disclosing details of the death, but she can confirm her office was notified late Wednesday night. Statewide, there have been 3 other pediatric-related flu deaths, and Dr. Roberts says it is typically the complications associated with the influenza virus that cause it to turn deadly.
And that's why we worry about the very young and the very old and those who are immunocompromised because we know their immune systems are not as strong as others, and so they are more susceptible to some of those complications.
She says hospitalization numbers are high and the city is approaching the peak of flu season, which means if you or a loved one falls under the high-risk categories, you should still get vaccinated.
We always say those are children and then older adults, as well as individuals who have known respiratory or lung issues like asthma, COPD, and anyone who's immunocompromised, whether it's from chemotherapy or some other type of medication they're taking.
That Columbus Public Health Commissioner says the good news about this year's vaccine is it is a better match against the current active strain of the flu. In Columbus, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News. The Reynoldsburg Police Department is looking to have a new spin on the traditional Neighborhood Watch program, and they're looking for your help.
It was a good time to buy a house, and this is a good starter home for my wife and I.
Brian Evan and his wife have called this Reynoldsburg ranch home for nearly 2 years. He says his street is quiet, his neighbors are friendly, but the school resource officer says regardless of how safe his neighborhood appears, he still takes steps to protect his family. He does that by using this home video monitoring system.
So we see who's coming to our door, who's walking by our house.
And it's homeowners like Brian Reynoldsburg police are hoping will join their new Crime Watch partnership. And this program allows homeowners to hand over video like this to help Reynoldsburg police catch crooks.
If we have an incident in town that we want to follow up on, we're able to go to our map and see what video may have captured that incident.
This Reynoldsburg police chief says Reynoldsburg community members are able to register their cameras with police, meaning police will have a database of addresses of which homes have cameras. The department won't have physical access to your device, but will notify you if they need to take a look at what your system may have captured.
And if they have resources that could provide clues, they're enthusiastic about supporting this.
For Brian Evans, it's a partnership he is more than willing to take part in, especially if it benefits the greater good and safety of his hometown.
If they're reaching out to the community, I have the access. They need the help, I'll help them.
In Reynoldsburg, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.